Okay, so let's get into this. We did a really deep dive into the sources you sent over.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was everything from classic Zen teachings to some pretty modern takes on mindfulness. And there's this one idea, this thread running through all of it that's so simple, but, well, it's almost impossible to talk about.
It's what we could call the silent geometry of now.
That's it, exactly. Our whole mission today, really, is to just look at this one tiny, unnoticed moment. The one that happens, I don't know, 1,000 times a day. That split second when your hand just hovers. You know, it's not yet touching, not yet acting. That moment before the sip of tea or before you hit send on the email.
It is a sliver of stillness. And it's not that time freezes, but for that one instant, the whole story of what's next just, it dissolves.
And thought itself kind of vanishes.
It does. And desire for just a breath forgets why it was in such a hurry.
Which is the opposite of how we live. We just rush right past it. Our whole world is built on getting from the intention to the consumption as fast as possible.
And in that speed, that compulsion to just do, that's precisely where life slips away from us. We're so focused on the outcome, quenching the thirst, finishing the task, that the only place life is actually happening,
The present.
it just vanishes like steam.
But what these sources suggest and what we're going to explore is that this overlooked little instant holds, well, everything. The whole point of this deep dive is just to notice it. That single weightless moment that belongs to nobody but you and the universe.
You know, the common way we think about presence, especially in the West, is that it's something you achieve.
Right. It's a skill.
Yeah.
You put in the work, you sit on the cushion, you discipline yourself, and then, you finally get to be present.
It's treated like a goal, a performance metric.
Yeah. And that's the first paradox that really jumped out at me from all this. The idea that presence isn't something you attain at all.
No.
It's what's left over when you finally stop trying to be present.
That's the entire shift in perspective. It's the ground you uncover when you stop trying to build something on top of it. That moment of pause, just before the action, it isn't preparation.
It's the culmination.
It is already whole. But we have this deep habit of treating the present like some unworthy placeholder.
That's a great way to put it. It's the annoying bridge you have to cross to get to the good part, to the real thing.
Exactly. But what if the vessel in your hand, the teacup, isn't a means to quench your thirst? What if it is the destination? The moment your fingers are just above it, you're not waiting to drink. In a very real way, you're already home.
Okay, that makes sense. But it also brings up some of these beautiful but tricky Zen ideas. You mentioned Mo before we started, the great no thing. How does someone listening to this even start to grasp fullness without form?
I think the simplest way to see Mo is as potential before it names itself. It's the quiet in a room that allows for sound. It's not absence, it's a complete state of being. Think about it. If your cup is already brimming with yesterday's worries and tomorrow's plans, there's just no room for Mu. There's no space.
So the mind is already overflowing. That connects directly to that story, right? The student asks the master about enlightenment. And the master just keeps pouring tea into his cup until it's spilling all over the table. And the student's like, stop, it's full.
And the master says, precisely, he says, like this cup, you are full of your own opinions and ideas. How can I show you presence unless you first empty your cup?
It's so literal.
It's not a metaphor, it's physical. In that moment before the sip, the cup is neither empty nor full. It's just perfectly receptive.
And that takes a kind of courage, doesn't it? To surrender that illusion that we're in control, that we need to be fixing or improving this very second.
It really does. It's like that famous Koan, what is the sound of one hand clapping? You're not supposed to solve it like a riddle.
You're supposed to enter it.
Yes, you just become the question. You stop applying logic, and that's exactly what the moment before action is. It's pure awareness, completely undistorted by your plan to act.
So that brings up the practical challenge then. If presence isn't about achieving some special state, does it mean we have to retreat to find it? Do you need the quiet room, the incense, the perfect conditions?
Well, if presence only worked in perfect silence, it would be pretty useless for most of us, wouldn't it?
Yeah, for the person stuck in traffic right now or trying to make dinner.
The truth is, and this is another paradox, true presence actually thrives in chaos. It hides in the clatter of a spoon or the beep of a microwave.
How though? That seems completely counterintuitive. My instinct is to block out the noise, to find quiet.
Because presence doesn't depend on the circumstances outside of you. It depends on your willingness to stop resisting what is. The resistance to the noise is the problem, not the noise itself.
Ah, I see.
And everyday life is constantly giving us these little koans of forgetting.
The moment when your internal script just drops, like walking into the kitchen.
Yes, exactly. You're boiling water for tea, the kettle whistles, you get up, you walk to the kitchen, but halfway there, you stop.
And you have no idea why you're there.
You completely forget.
I do that 5 times a day. I always just thought it was a sign I'm tired or distracted.
But in that tiny gap, that moment of not knowing, the mind drops its whole storyline. The I need tea, the I must finish this task, it's all gone. And for a second, there's just pure unscripted being. That forgetting isn't a failure, it's a flash of awakening.
So the goal isn't to force yourself to focus, but actually to let go of the need to have an outcome.
Precisely. That is the alchemy of action. It reminds me of the story of the anxious businessman who goes to a Zen master for help. The master doesn't give him advice, he just hands him a broom.
And tells him to sweep.
He says sweep and don't sweep anything else.
And what happens?
He just sweeps for days, and by the third day, the anxiety is just gone. Not because his problems were solved, but because he dissolved. When you do one thing so fully, the self who is trying to achieve something just falls away. Only sweeping remains.
That's a beautiful idea. This continuous act of letting go.
That's Fangxia, right?
Yes, it means to let go or put down. And it isn't some grand one-time act. It's continuous, like breathing.
It's like that story of the 2 monks at the river. One carries a woman across the muddy water, and hours later, the other monk is still fuming about it.
Right, he finally explodes. We are forbidden to touch women. How could you do that?
And the first monk, the one who actually carried her, just says,
I put her down hours ago. Why are you still carrying her?
And that's us. We're carrying yesterday's arguments, last week's anxieties, right into this very moment.
Which brings us to a really modern Koan. You're holding your cup. You're in that quiet moment, and your phone buzzes. The choice you have to make in that instant, it isn't between the tea and the notification. It's between presence and performance. Performance, I see what you mean. We feel like we have to perform our availability for the phone or perform our efficiency by immediately jumping to the next thing.
We perform so much of our lives, but this way of being is raw, unvarnished contact with what is. The real rebellion isn't changing your life, it's just finally stopping long enough to notice it. The Koan isn't in some ancient book, it's in the steam rising from your cup.
So we get there. We arrive at that moment, the hand is suspended, the breath is held, we stop. And then nothing happens.
No.
There are no fireworks, no sudden bolt of insight. It's just the ordinary feeling of just this.
And that ordinariness is liberation. In that just this, everything collapses into one single point of pure, simple awareness. This is the final paradox. The peak of presence isn't somewhere up ahead.
It's down, it's here.
It's revealed when all the striving just stops. The summit was always the ground beneath your feet.
It totally redefines what success is. Success isn't drinking the tea, it's being fully available for the moment before you drink the tea. I keep thinking of that old woman who served tea for 30 years. Her whole practice was just 3 sentences.
I pour the tea, I wash the cup, I wait for you.
That's it.
That simple routine, done without any attachment to an outcome, that is the fulfillment of Wu Wei, the effortless way. She isn't trying to find enlightenment in the tea. She is letting the tea be her enlightenment.
So in that stillness, you aren't preparing to drink. You're already drinking in the fullness of existence. But this raises an even deeper question for me. What if you never took the sip? What if you just set the cup down untouched and walked away? Is that failure? Or is that something else?
I think that might be the most radical act of presence there is. Not to consume, not to grasp, but simply to behold, to allow.
Yeah.
The tea doesn't beg to be drunk. The moment doesn't ask to be used. It just invites you to be with it. The real freedom is knowing you don't actually have to take that next step.
Because the second we start reaching, we leave that quiet perfection and we start the whole cycle of desire and consumption all over again.
We spend our entire lives chasing the first sip, the finished cup, the empty bowl, but this way of seeing points backward, to the pause, to the approach, to that unclaimed space before intention becomes action. That's where the freedom is.
So enlightenment isn't some state of constant, heightened awareness. It's the courage to just be completely lost in one ordinary second. The summit isn't the place you climb to.
It's the ground you fall into when you finally stop reaching.
So there's no grand finale.
There's no revelation waiting for you. There's just this breath, the steam, this pause. It's so small, it vanishes the moment you try to name it.
So you don't need to understand it. You just need to stop long enough to let it hold you.
And right there, in that quiet space between a thought and a sensation, A single silent question starts to bloom.
And that's the question we want to leave you with.
Yeah.
The one that defines the true geometry of this moment. What if this is enough?
The answer is the quiet hum that remains when you stop looking for one.